This dude is the biggest narcissist. Probably jealous because I wasn't attracted to him. I have no idea what the hell with this dude. I don't even like talking about him anymore today because he's like the demon, the hell in my life, okay? I have spoken about every perpetrator out here and I have gotten, some crazy targets, but I will tell you, the very worst one is this dude. And with his little Maxwell, yeah, I just ran across something, and the way they were explaining it, they're like, yeah, he had some woman out here trying to like recruit some girls or something. I go, yeah, the whole thing was his human trafficking endeavors started when he was a kid, and it was something to look at because when he said it, he seemed to think it was totally fine, normal. I handed my teenage friend here to a 30-year-old male, which is a form of human trafficking. I have not seen the documentary yet. I'm debating if I want to spend $3 to $4. Does he get any portion of it? As long as he don't get a portion of it, I will probably spend it. But people saying it's everything we already know. It's probably everything I already know. But people are referencing things, and I haven't seen that, so it's hard for me to make a comment to it. So I may just, for the sake of uh, harming myself. But I'm gonna get banned just for saying that. In my brain. There was a number of things that I ran across. Okay, yeah, so he was doing drugs and we were all pointing it out like he's lying, blah blah blah. They were pulling out specifics. We all knew that he was doing ketamine or something, whatever that is. Apparently he was doing whippets, which I guess is like a form of huffing. I never did that stuff, so I was trying to look at it. I go, it wasn't poppers, right? It's like huffing, sniffing the Cool Whip. Okay. Anyway, so yes, he chronically went after females, and in the portions when we were pulling up, he was flirting with minors online. And then he was saying, these people are so sad for pulling this out. It's like, you know how we found this out, you guys? Because he came on to TV and he said, oh, the number one problem in Hollywood is pedophilia, which isn't categorically true in the sense that it's only Hollywood. It's like everywhere there's a problem. And if you're running with the Bible, I would think you would have a problem with the Bible because they were into kids. And um, yeah, so it's just kind of like, what? And then so yeah, you'd want to change the laws. I go, the laws are in place the way it is because Christians, they set up the law, particularly the men, because women couldn't vote. Okay, so he has a ideology that he gets to be the head leader and tell women what to do. And yeah, I remember Jezebel Sweet speaking on things. I remember a couple other women speaking on things. And the media really did them wrong. They were trying to mute down the stories. Corey's making threats. Then he's asking for money from fans. And I guess he's abusing the money and getting lawyers and going after people, just making stuff up. And one of the things that happened in here, I don't want to talk about this other party because I can suspect about a million reasons why this bullshit was going on over there too. Related to somebody else actually. But regardless of that was a heavy hit too. I don't know what the hell that was about. Man, there's a lot to say about that. That's really depressing actually, but what can you do? We're not out here doing major targets on these people. I mean, try to shut them down. No. So one of the main topics we do talk about is the childhood portions because they're extra important. People continually disregard this. They're like, we all had bad childhood. It's like, yes, but did you turn out to be a sociopath? Maybe you are too. I don't know. But when I'm reading this stuff, I go, no, it had nothing to do with Hollywood, you guys. Literally. Hollywood enables it just because everybody had a bad childhood. These people were raised in home environments that at the time government promoted child abuse and ignored child sexual abuse and minimized any terrible thing. Sure. Okay, so I had to get some of the lowdown from other people about his childhood portion because I was like, is he lying that his mother abused him? Right? Because you could get that because he's such a liar. But no, actually, there was an interesting dynamic. So I was told some information, and I go, yeah, that must be true because they're saying, oh no, what he's saying there is true, and it's actually kind of worse because some conduct that they did. So I got some other information. So it's not like saying Corey's a liar in that portion. It actually was some additionals, but he didn't tell you about it, and I felt that there must be something shady then as to why he wouldn't share that. And then I found that episode where him and his sister are talking on TV. And I go, well, that doesn't show that he could take care of himself. If he's living with his sister, it's putting the parental thing on the older sibling. And then she was saying she got evicted. I don't know why she got evicted, because of him, something, I don't know. But anyway, that's not a stable situation either. So those things are really important, you guys. To become a narcissist, study up on what creates the narcissist. The mother probably in this dynamic of continually like putting them out into the public, and you're so perfect, and then turning around doing the abuse, because it's like this dual dynamic. It's not all just overly love and praise, but sometimes it can be, but it tends to come with like verbal abuse and degrading, and then to the point of you're so perfect type of thing. You're going to be number one. Like something weird about it. There's a interesting dynamic with that. Then in addition, with the Bible trying to tell men that they were like God's chosen ones in life and we're supposed to submit to them. Okay, so you see him actually doing this in television and everything else. At no time in that past portion is he even empathetic. He's very sadistic, very just self-centered, does a lot of harm to other women, thinks he's the shit in the room. And so me personally, I battle a lot with them. Like a lot of people will walk away from them. So you'll see this like, because I have a strong personality too. So it's like if I feel something's wrong, like I just say it. And so me, any person that can see through the narcissist is going to be their target, and they're going to continually target that person. And I noticed that he likes to steal people's stories and run with it and pretend they're his, and that becomes an annoyance. I go, where do you get all this information? I go, I know my stories I said about a million other things, and he seems to all of a sudden had it happen. I don't know, but other people too. So it's not just you guys. And then I heard somebody saying like, not everybody's paying attention to you. You feel like they are, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, isn't that true? It is true. Mostly for a lot of celebrities, though, too. They think we should know who they are. And I've chronically said, I don't know who half these people are. And I've ran across about 1 million of them. And I wouldn't even know who Harvey Weinstein was, even though I worked twice on his thing. Only to some people that they hold these people up like little gods, which I don't, which is also in the Bible that you're not supposed to do that. But anyway, these people do that. Just talking about the contradictions of their bullshit anyway, because our country, I don't even want to talk about politics right now because it's just like, just horrific, everything going on. This dude right here. So yeah, apparently he's the one that reached out to me. It wasn't me trying to talk to him. I recall just saying something on Twitter and then he said something to me, like he responded to it. It was weird. Well, maybe what he's saying is true. Let me take a look at it. So I like to go through cold cases. So that was my thing even prior to this thing. So he flung out a bunch of like puzzle pieces over here. And so I was like actually seriously going down the rabbit hole. And as I was going down the rabbit hole, I was finding out all this terrible stuff on him, but it's not purposely so. It's just, that's the facts, and that's the facts, that's the facts. Nobody has to like his music. Nobody has to do any of those things. And no, that's not bullying. Okay, so I get really annoyed when people, mostly in positions of power, entitled white boys or entitled white women, using the term bully when it's not bullying. So bullying always has to have some sort of thing about a differentiating thing about a position of power where either they perceive you to be lesser, like you could be working in the same job, but they see you as like some homeless person or somebody like because your skin color or something. They look down on you because they see you as a lesser, and or they are in an actual position of power such as a boss and then doing things to you chronically. So he tried to be like, oh, the public is bullying me. I go, the public doesn't like your music because they're being honest. That's the feedback, and you have to run with the feedback. If you suck, you suck, and then you should go work on it to be better. But if you're an empty soul, like what song could you actually sing to us? I mean, really think about this. I mean, he's not going to have anything really in depth other than, I'm a drunk, I was famous as a kid, blah, blah, blah. It's me. No, like real life experience other than I did drugs, I party, and I'm waiting for, my next paycheck. I mean, there's really this level of superficial, like he's just kiddie pool deep, okay? But I'm not even part of like any other bullshit that he was trying to claim out here. And I know that a lot of the people that I was speaking with were not part of those things, whatever he was claiming. They were laughing at it though, and I was trying to warn them, don't even play along with it, because I mean, maybe they either A, don't understand the personality disorders that he has, and don't think he's actually going to do anything like really vindictive. And we already know he will because we talk about these people all the time. But not to egg it on, like don't go to his house or do anything like that. And to my knowledge, nobody, well, I'd say most people that I've spoke with did not do those things. I know there was somebody else trying to pay attention to what they were doing because they were making up stories, but nobody did anything vindictive that I am personally aware of. And I would say something if that was the case. And I was saying that there was some other people, they wanted me to speak out on certain things of this thing, and I didn't want to do that because I'm not part of that personal story right there. And I hate it when other people do that, like they get involved in like in my case, right, where I have I'm a victim to a very rich clan of idiots out here that keeps getting covered up for. And just because they're millionaires, I was like, that was the thing about it. But anyways, I don't like it when people try to get involved in that when they were not even part of the story. So it would be awkward of me to go out and I'm all talking like, yeah, Corey, this and that, and it didn't happen. I don't like that because I wasn't there and it's not my story, right? I can talk about my opinion about it, but I don't want to get involved in that type of dynamic. And I've seen women do it on other cases with some of these other guys, and I don't want to do that. I'm happy over here talking about the mentality of this crap, and we were outing some people that were known, but no. So when I went down the rabbit hole, the only question mark and everything here was the Charlie Sheen drop. He claims he even put it in the book. Now, here's the thing with me. I said I'm not buying the book because I'm not funding this garbage right here. After I gave him the dollar for the initial thing, I had to get it refunded, which I did from my bank. But I didn't want to give any more money to this type of conduct here that was going on because I started finding out all these lies and manipulations and just manipulating people over and over. And yeah, as you keep going into the story, it gets worse and worse and worse. Even now it's getting worse, right? So it's like him forcing people to take drugs. And the girls were really honest. The media just, they were like not wanting to run the stories. Apparently he could only be a victim and everybody else is just a liar. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I was trying to support them as much as possible. I don't know them. Um, but we believe every part of that story because when you watch even the television stuff, and then he tried to throw the drug thing onto all the girls, even though they all got busted. He got busted. And then they're saying, no, they did it all with us. I mean, how ridiculous is that? And the way he was acting, right? He's into that Molly crap. And yeah, the monster dance thing that he did that thing on. Yeah, I mean that you're either dealing with someone that's highly autistic and can't read the room, which he may also be, you guys. I have been questioning that too, because he's so awkward, that awkward portion of things. And then in addition, a lot of the like you can't read social cues or something, right? Like that is totally there. I would have done that dance thing. Like if it was me doing it in the position of me, I'm just explaining like some of us have different personality traits, and like if you would do that, it would be me trying to like totally just embarrass everybody on purpose and just annoy the crap out of conservatives. It would totally be that mindset if I did that, and I know that it would look totally whack. And in fact, if you ask my school friends, like they refuse to do something like that. But it's based on, it's not based that I don't know that it looks ridiculous. It's that I know it looks ridiculous. I know that it's sort of like in some way antagonistic towards these like really crusty, like conservative, like Christian people, even though at that time I was totally Christian, but just effing with people. Like there's a thing about it that I used to like to do when I was younger, but it's not me not reading the room. Like I can't tell that it's totally ridiculous and idiotic, but he does it on a serious level. That's what makes it feel uncomfortable, because it's like if I did that and I was actually trying to be serious, I would be embarrassed. Because there's times that we've done, I think everybody's done something where they're like, oh my God, that was just a bad idea. It's embarrassing to bring it up again. But yeah, like we're aware, we have an awareness to that. He thinks that he is like the greatest thing that ever happened. I did 18 top selling movie, whatever it was that he said on that thing. I haven't seen the movie yet, but when I see it, I'll probably have about 10 million other things to say on it. If the documentary does not have a huge portion on his childhood, it's going to throw you off. It's going to make you think it's all these other things. And it really is not. It really is this home life dynamic. And then he's off on his own as a minor. And he's off doing things that he should have never done. And he has no parental control. Didn't sound like they had any parental control from the get-go, and that's why some of these things were going on. And then he does harmful things to other people, and so that was seen in the early portion. So I was looking at that too. I was like, yeah, in the early portion. The TV stuff is not helpful. It's like it's not a great thing, but it's not the thing that made him that terrible. It's like it's just like the pool that like enables it, because there's all these other F-ups out here. So he was bragging about being on the set of that Michael Jackson thing, and I had done a piece on that actually. It is one of the worst videos that Michael ever done, and it's degrading to women, and it was showing him stalking a woman down and gyrating. Like the legit like visual of this video and the song about it is like, I'm gonna stalk this woman down, and he's like gyrating and doing this thing, and it's meant to be towards adults, right? And it's not good for us, our gender. No man should be doing that. And we had this happen in real life, even by a female doing that crap to me. But they have this young Corey Feldman in the background on this video. Apparently he's saying that he was there and present. And I'm like, yeah, so now he's picking up how to treat women like crap, stalk them down, gyrate, and grab my crotch. And what did you guys pull out in the videos that you were showing in the 2017 portion? They were saying this. They're like, he keeps rubbing his crotch. Don't go down there. Don't do the dance. Don't do this. I go, see? Then that got normalized in front of little boys. You know, like what would you do if you saw me doing that and some adult man keeps grabbing his, the crotch area, and I'm running around now touching my crotch all the time? I mean, you would think there's something, really bad here. And we've seen it with the Macaulay thing too, but this is the normalized area. And then he flings out, apparently, that he has some tape of Michael talking for 30 to 40 minutes. But nobody asks these questions. Like, everybody's making cracks, right? And this happened when I was bringing up Paul Rubens, where it's like, I'm trying to get serious about a topic right before he got arrested in 2001. I'm asking people, does anybody know if these guys are friends still, or anything like that. And then it turns into all these like crazy sexual comment jokes, about him, It was funny at the time, reading people's responses to it, but I was being serious. So it kind of turns into this thing where people overlook like what he's saying and then kind of mock like the fact that he even said it. But the fact is that we don't know how he obtained the audio of Michael talking. And I have a feeling it's a cassette. And if it's a cassette, maybe he never knew it and he ended up not being friends with them anymore. And look at how he is right now. Doesn't he like use everybody as a form to try to make money off of? Well, imagine being around Michael all the time, and you can make money from the media, from personal information on him. So I don't know if he taped it without his knowledge or anything like that. But nobody asked that question. They were thinking that it was fake, and why now are you saying that? I go, no, the thing with him, he'll say something that has a tad bit of truth in it, and then it's like all twisted around. But I don't think that he would have a fake audio of Michael talking. I actually think he probably has a legit audio, but the way he obtained it may not be proper. It could be, but I don't know why it would be. I can't imagine him just going, hey, go ahead and just tape me for an hour, Corey. Because what are you going to do with it? Like, he's a, very private person and doesn't trust people, and then they end up getting in a fight. So I was thinking, well, maybe he's getting caught with doing all this crazy crap and Michael doesn't trust him. I have no idea, but they obviously had a situation. Now, no one's confronted him and asked him, has he ever lip locked with Michael Jackson? Did he ever kiss him on the lips? Okay, so this is a question. I would like to know if that ever happened. And then if he says yes, then I would like to ask like why he never spoke of that in public. And so these are just questions. And then yeah, because the other victims are having, they're fighting the world. I mean, those are the real ones over there. Like just, you get the legal thing and all that. Okay, so I don't know what the hell Corey was talking about on the lawyer thing. The only thing I could pick from that, I think, is there was an interview where he was trying to claim, I think it was in this interview, but I didn't quite get it on this other video. Anyway, it got taken down, allegedly. But in one of these videos, he was trying to say that Michael stole the moves from him. And I'm like, oh, God. Anyway, so he was trying to say something like that. And I don't know if it was in that particular video, but they did this video, like, not too long ago. And he's just, like, talking some really weird stuff, like Illuminati stuff, the Scientology thing. I told you guys I had gone into Scientology on my own accord, and no, I didn't get lured into a cult, and no, I don't have enough money anyway, and I didn't go up any ranks or any weird thing like that. And to my knowledge, they never did anything particular to me other than they kept sending me stuff, and I think one time they offered me to show up at something if I wanted to, and that was about it. No, I didn't need any money. They were giving me free stuff, a free book. They're all, I'm gonna give this to you. It was like some like $20, $30, $40 book. I still have it though. But like I said, the guy lied about it not being a church and all this other stuff. But anyway, study purposes. No, so I don't think there's this like deeper underground thing with Scientology other than it's its own cult, like about a million other ones out here that operate, I mean, it's not like some big cabal of like something that's overtaken the world. I mean, it's so weird how they were talking. I have no idea. It's like there's about a million cults out here. Do you know that, you guys? We talk about them a lot, even through other countries in Canada and just general cult leader stuff. And in fact, they pulled out that Corey Feldman fits the personality trait of a cult leader. And yes, so that would be like a grandiose narcissist. And in fact, if you try to compare him with Trump, they actually have very, very similar traits. Mostly like when you say something negative about them, then they come after you and totally try to annihilate you. And yeah, that's a very particular narcissist. from my understanding. So I was reading on the different narcissists, like they have coverts and that, but then the grandiose is more of those cult leader types, like a Keith Raniere, and Trump's like that, and so is Corey. But Corey has no, they're very similar. Like they just lie at any moment, right? They just say one thing one day, and then another day they seem likable, right? Like, when's the last time you seen Corey Feldman likable? Well, he was kind of likable, like in the moment where I'm trying to analyze it. It's in the moment where he puts the book out, right? And then we kind of go, oh, maybe that's why he's so weird because he's an actual child victim. So tell me about it, Corey. Like, you're opened up and you're listening to him, like he's of importance now. Then he seems okay. In that moment when there was that conversation, he seems okay and likable and like friendly and whatnot. But then, yeah, but then you start questioning the credibility portion, and then you see him with photos with people I was already speaking of, and then that rainbow thing. I talked about the rainbow thing. That is really bad. But all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're actually hanging out with all the predators that we have already validated and know, right? And I couldn't figure out like why he wouldn't be part of a drug ring of Michael Jackson's friends or not have knowledge of it when they were already out here doing drugs like he was. And I was trying to figure out like that information. And so it was like there was a personal thing on our side because we're still trying to identify about 20 different guys. 20 different guys, you guys. It's not one guy, it's not two guys, it's about 20 some odd guys, about 20 some odd guys. And I already have some, but there's still a chunk of people that we have not identified yet. So that's not Hollywood per se. It was in Hollywood, a lot of it, but it isn't the business of Hollywood, but the Hollywood caters to it, more or less, if you think about it like that. There's like a whole bunch of people are into kids and in and out of Hollywood. They wouldn't promote it if there wasn't a demand for it outside of Hollywood. It's kind of in that spirit of things. But as far as anything else, he didn't expose Jeffries. He didn't expose any of that. But I was actually exposing things that, in part, wasn't aware that I was exposing, if you could put it like that. It's like I'm in something, but I'm exposing it, but I don't know who's all involved. It was like, I was like, oh, there's this thing. And it's quite complicated. So yeah, the banks were coming after me. As you see, they're all in chai. Okay, there's a whole thing here. Corey Feldman does not have these problems, okay? Like, it's just annoying because when he puts it out, it's like one of those things that can be truthful for somebody else, but it's not truthful in his story. Such as the pedos are after me. Well, no pedo is after him. The pedos were after all of us, though. The females and other people, yeah, like the people that we dealt with, for sure. And Sheen is like nothing in comparison to what was going on here. I cannot 1000% rule out anything that Sheen did. We're just got to lay it out here. But from the information that I gathered, at no time was there anything that pointed to Sheen. But we know that there was an issue with, I guess, Inquirer. And I was just validating knowledge that they went and spoke with somebody, and I spoke with that person, and they swore to God that they did not say those comments, because it threw me off because I just spoke with them, and they said, no, I didn't say that, and I can't do, I guess they can't legally do something because they insinuated it was that person, but they didn't say it was that person. So when you read it, you think all these people said these horrible things about Sheen, and actually, no, that person did not. And we all were on the same page. Like, they had a friendship. Well, okay, Dom, I guess all of them, they had some kind of friendship or something like a long time ago. And then something went sour. So I don't know. It's an assumption that Dom got really jealous that Haim was hanging out with them. It could be true that Haim had some relationship with them after the fact. I don't know. It's the big question. So I am not privy to any other internal relations with them, but at no time was there any allegation on the 13-year-old portion. And then we caught them, Corey here, talking about it's blackmail because he outed that he did that to him to give him to his friend Dom. And then these stories started spinning after the fact. So it was that. So it leads you more into that never happened. It's just the cover. I don't know, something weird. But I'm not really clear. So, and then the way they describe what happened is not really anything that could actually happen. But did Haim make something up? You know what I mean? Like, even in the edition, it's like maybe Haim made something up. I have no idea. Maybe it was a running joke. Maybe Haim, you know what I mean? We don't know. That's the thing about that portion. And the only way to get any validation to it was through People magazine. And I stated about a million times, and I go, well, what we need to know in that portion, since it's the only factual proof of anything that it could have flung out of his mouth, is that who gave you the statement? Because if the statement didn't come from him and it came from Feldman or Dom, then it's manipulated. I mean, we cannot go from those types of things. It's not proof. It's just hearsay through the vine, right? But it was presented in a way that it made you think it was, but technically on the read, no. It just said some adult man, something with Haim, something. Like somebody gave him the information. So I'm like, can you tell me who gave you that? Now, the media doesn't have to tell me anything. But he did say he tried to open up the file and then said the file wouldn't open. So I was like, well, okay. And then he said, I'll try again, whatever. And I was waiting for it. And then that's when they totally targeted me off the platform. I go, this is craziness. It's hard to say who these people, I have a feeling it has nothing to do with the Feldman side. It may have to do with the Epstein side. So because those people, there's a whole thing there. So there was things that happened before Corey's story. And I was bringing up, I go, yeah, I don't know Rose McGowan. And that's the only person I can even think of with those initials that were put on my car. Because it was either, I remember it was so weird the way it was written. It looked like RM or PM because they took their finger and did the round part of the top of the R or the P and then swung it down and then did the M. And I go, well, I don't know anyone with either one of those initials. And one of the stories we were covering was also Weinstein, and I had actually worked on his shows and on his movies. And I was like, well, the only thing I could think of there, unless it's just like a throw off, like some type of weird throw off. But the thing that was important in it is that LAPD is the one that covered it up. So why wouldn't they take a photo of the initials? So I did, but they were supposed to come and investigate it. And so they said, we're going to send a detective out and do all these things. And then they never showed up. And so I filed a complaint to Michael Moore. And then they said something, I agreed to something, which I did not. Which, if there's any bullshit like that, then it would have been through because LAPD said go online and file the one report on the vandal part, because that's part of vandalism that they were putting it under. But it's actually part of stalking. So somebody's stalking me for 3 months straight and then did a number of things, and on that last round put this initial. And along with FU, which is very personal, on my driver's side. And I was like, that is absolutely bizarre. No, I don't. I honestly don't. It was a big mystery. I go, you know what? I think it's LAPD doing it, or the sheriff gangs, and they're trying to make it seem like it's a street person, but yet no street person would do that. And also, in addition to that crime, it's very feminine. It's a very not a masculine type of crime, because if a man's pissed off at me, do you think? Listen, guys, if a guy is pissed off at me, do you think a guy is going to come to my vehicle and just put like some finger writing and then not break anything, but do a little key scratching, a little pen drawing, and trying to get my car towed? That's very female. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's the nature of the crime. I do believe that was a female, but I don't know who that is. It could be a jealous woman. I mean, I was just saying, I was mocking, saying, I go, if Rose did that, then she's out of her effing mind. I go, I never met her. I was like, and how would she know I live there? I mean, that would be absolutely batsh. You know what I mean? So I was like, no, that was the only person that in our conversations of any topic that we're talking about that has those initials. And the rapist guy that we reported from like 90, it was in 1991. Okay, this is a case that happened in 1991, but that individual lives all the way up towards the Tahoe area, like way over there, okay? That's so far away. The story is so far away, and they have those initials, but they actually have another first name, which I found out later after doing the report with Yolo County. And the name starts with something else. And I go, yeah, I mean, who's going to drive to LA and then they're just going to do some bullshit like that for months and then leave? I mean, it doesn't make sense, guys. It has nothing to do with those people. So, more than likely, unless you have some idiots that were friends with his and they started stalking me and then blah, 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 blah. But to go there is really pushing the impossible. You'd have to first know where I was at initially, which we were dealing with the Bel Air fire, and then I'm dislocated, right? And then we get a new place, and the only people that knew is my lawyer, and it's not my lawyer, and then the people that had me move into the other place, and that was it. Like, those are legit the only people under the sun that knew where I was at. And I had just moved there, and I just got that other car. So I had two cars, and then at no time does anybody know this, other than the only people that can get this information is LAPD and anybody stalking me. So if they have any, professional stalkers up in here, I would question that, and it wouldn't be a real investigator, because they would never do any conduct like that. They would lose their license. I mean, you can't do that kind of thing. So the conduct is not from Corey's side, that thing, because it was before Corey even said anything to me, and then before we even looked at that thing. And then the targets on the Twitter were before any of that. So no, I would chronically just do the mock you videos and stuff like that, but it was nothing nothing major. It was nothing that the typical public wouldn't do. And no, but he started making up that somebody went to his house. I believe he made that up. Because he made up somebody stabbed me with a needle on Ventura Boulevard, and it's like, gang members don't even do that. Like, they would just shoot you. Nobody's gonna get out of the car and just stab you with a needle. I mean, that would be a one in a bazillion thing that would happen. And then in which case, then the cops would be like really concerned and looking for this crazy needle stabber. So he makes up stories like that. And then I could say something, like I'm saying something truthful, like all these targets and whatnot, which is real. But one of the people that were targeting me was the Feldman side, his little Maxwell. Now, what they told me, a lot of people in the background about this girl, I can't think of her name right now. If you ask anybody else, they'll probably remember who it is. I had a conversation with somebody. They said that this one particular female in his group of people over there was running around trying to remove everybody for him, like the cult, like the Manson cult girls, right? And so what she does is she goes out and then she says that he owns the property, which he doesn't, right? It's property of, the movie people or, the media, whatever, whatever, whatever. And that, they're doing a copyright infringement, some bullshit like that, right? They just make up something. Well, usually it's pretty easy for me when I get the information about it. They will come to me, show me a notice, which I usually ignore every effing thing up in here anyway. But anyway, they give me a notice, which happened on one other one because somebody didn't like my opinion. And then I had to get it, just say, oh no, it's just blah, blah, blah. And then they put it back up, right? So it's usually a conduct like that. Well, somehow these people, I feel, knew that I didn't have my computer at that moment. So I'm questioning the conduct there because I didn't tell anybody I didn't have my computer. It was in the shop. And I didn't want anybody to know because of things like that. Because I don't want people feeling free to do things and I can't get to it at that moment. So it was in the shop for about, was it 8 weeks? Oh, that was the most expensive thing to get done. It was like $800 to get the hard drive. Something happened with my hard drive and I needed it because I have work stuff on it and personal stuff that I was a little concerned about. And that guy was making a comment too. He's like, "Are you concerned that I'm not going to delete it?" I'm like, "You better delete it because if I ever see any of my private information in public, your ass is mine." And yeah, it was really nerve-wracking. But it was a had to do thing. It was really unfortunate, but yeah, so then I had to sell my other car so I could pay to get something important fixed. I had to get it fixed. So I was like, yeah, I had to pay $800 for that crap. So yeah, I was out for about 8 weeks and they just said it was very lucky that they were able to copy the drive because it was so effed up. And I asked the guy, I go, is there a way that somebody remotely could try to destroy my hard drive? Because in the past, we had the multi-millionaire team trying to send viruses to my computer and trying to hack and do all kinds of stuff, okay? And at that time, too, I was already aware. So we're talking in the early 2000s. They didn't have all these like protection program, like how it is today. And nor was that technology even up, how it is today for hacking and all that. But yeah, so I asked them, I go, is there a way that somebody could do that? And they didn't really know is the thing. I mean, I know at the time I knew enough about tech, mostly about the computers, but not enough on any illegal, weird conduct like that. So it was just strange. Like it happened, right? The hard drive went, and then I took it to the shop, and all of a sudden, Corey's people were trying to take down my channel. And I go, yeah, that's a little fishy. He would totally mess with the underworld because he was a drug addict. And his conduct has always been ultra like dirt. So I can't tell you guys. I just found it to be really fishy. And then it just got worse when I don't know, this later thing that happened. And I just don't want to deal with anybody that's even going on like that. Okay, so what do you say? So it's not about lawyers, okay, the lawyer part. The lawyer part, he's saying, I think what he meant when they were making some cracks about it, they're all, lawyers are expensive. They don't just go after people for nothing. I go, wait a minute. I think what he is trying to convey, I could be wrong, but if he was trying to convey that, then he made himself look totally guilty by trying to sue other people because he was saying nobody goes after people, like they go after people where it's nothing. I think what he's meaning in the statement is if I was a liar and I made a claim, then the party will sue me. But if I'm telling the truth, the party doesn't sue me, which my case is very specific and solely on me. Like it's a very individual case where I happen to befriend the lawyer of the perpetrators people at the time, and they're the ones that sought me out, and then they have knowledge and blah blah blah. Well, it would make it difficult if they came after me, because then I'm just going to pull in every asshole under the sun. Like, I don't have a lawyer client privilege thing. I don't have a thing with that lawyer. It Yeah, so it wasn't on the basis of I'm consulting with them for a legal thing. No, they wanted me to go meet with them because they were interested in me as a musician, right? Because that's what the industry does. If you get an entertainment lawyer, you're good to go. Like, I mean, there's some things with that, but but I was not like signed on. Like, we don't have a thing, so he's kind of operating as his own. I don't know. There's some interesting things in that. But anyway, a lawyer was involved, and in most of these cases, it is not that dynamic where they have that over them. And you'll see them going after legit victims and making up stuff and succeeding. So then he goes, yeah, so it doesn't make sense. So now he goes and sues somebody, and it's like, yeah, oh, okay, so that means that it's frivolous, right? That's what he said. It didn't make any sense. He's an idiot. I don't think he finished school, man. I don't know. Just a very uneducated comment. Like, it's too black and white. Like, I've seen it happen, but then I've also seen the reversal happen. Again, it's very individual, and if it's a case where they're just like, that's just gonna ruin my image, even though it's totally true. If you have enough money, did you see what they recently did with that other case? Corey had to chime on this case too. I was like, oh, God. He's like, I told y'all. I was like, no, no, you didn't go into that thing right there. And no, he wasn't talking about touching kids in that way, because otherwise he would have a problem with Michael Jackson, because what he's being accused of is similar thing. And they went and obtained a lawyer, and then the minute they got the lawyer, oh God, they started doing the same bullshit again. Oh, the kids want money, the mom wants money, they're this, they're that. All these people were liars, and the media is like going on and on, and then their lawyer like argues this one point and then gets them out of jail. And I'm like, but that's the system. I mean, that's the system. I don't think it's right at all. And then they're just degrading the victims. They're like, they didn't tell the cops that they touched them the first time. I was like, so did even on the Michael case. I think a tank of cases where they think it's totally fine and it's nothing to bring up because they never ask them directly. When they ask them if they touched them, they're looking at it like, did you do like a sex act, like an actual like specific act? And nobody associates the other stuff with it. And then they go and talk to one of the witnesses, which is, oh, I don't know. It's all legal, I guess, but they manipulated the witness to go onto their side. And she's like, I didn't know they were going to manipulate my statements that way. I go, nobody manipulated your statements. You made the statement. You just don't see nothing wrong with what you said. And there is something wrong with what you said, the conduct. And she went on a whole like, oh, wait a minute, all this. And I go, well, maybe you're the problem too, and you don't see anything wrong with this conduct. But anyway, the, perpetrator side, because they have a lot of money, was able to do this. And then it hits the media like fire. And yeah, so, you know, they weren't the only victims that were in the story. I went down a rabbit hole and I saw a whole bunch of things in here. I was like, oh, I wasn't even aware of that. That's pretty crazy. They said, yeah, for decades, but it was usually with other females. And then they said he's such a jerk. Like, the guy, like, they just said there was a lot of information on that guy. And, yeah, but you get a lawyer, you have enough money, they're doing their job, aren't they? I mean, really, that's that. Can poor kids get that type of representation? No, the victims can't typically, no. And I was talking about the bullshit on that. I was like, oh yeah, they tell us victims to go get a therapist, and then the government or whoever, they give them all this like legal defense and legal help and everything to protect their ass. I go, oh, how bullshit is this, right? It was a story that popped up. I don't even remember what the hell I pulled out, but yeah. And then I tried to get the lawyers busted with the state bar, and they're highly protected and they will not put these things on their records, which then puts other people in danger of their sexual misconduct. And that's not on me. I made attempts to try to go at that, and several times actually. And the lawyers have been making excuses for this. And I go, yeah, it's not my arena. So why would it be on me to go try to change the inside of the state bar, or any other thing? There shouldn't be a 5-year minimum on reporting sexual misconduct on any lawyer out here. Holy crap. If you have enough evidence to prove that the conduct happened, then I think that should be enough and it should go on their record at a minimum. And they didn't do that. And then, so unfortunately, we have a lot of perpetrator lawyers out here. And then because I have that secrecy thing, I got abused by my last lawyer to no end, and being hidden out in his office and like crazy, crazy, like he's, dreaming about me and he's about to take himself out and just weird stuff. Okay. So, I mean, I've had tons, I shouldn't say tons of lawyers, but I've had quite a few lawyers like throughout the years since I was a kid, and I've never had anything like that. And it's scary because uh they could do something really bad to you by reporting on them. Mostly somebody that's unstable like that. And I couldn't fire him due to we were already like a year or something in on the case, and I was just like, just too much in it. But these lawyers are very aware that this like Jeffrey Epstein conduct was going on. Like all these guys are they know all about this. And in fact, like I think a lot of them are really good friends and they converse with each other and everything else. And where are they out here they can't, like, I'm not expecting them to out the people that they know about it, but where are they out here trying to make the changes like inside their universe and even to the public, like, oh, there's all these men. No, because they've been partaking in the conduct. They told me, at least the one was just like, oh, I should know what that's about. Like, we should all, like, this is all normal. Like, this conduct is normal. So let's move the conversation on, as your typical lawyer would totally do. Was doing this thing. So I go, wow, that I thought today was going to be the day finally someone does something. And here's the lawyer just going, oh, you know what that's about. Anyways, it's all good. You know what I mean? Yeah, they probably had conversations that I was very problematic because I'm having an issue with it now and I'm trying to tell somebody and they were acting weird. They're like, you need to go talk to Toby. I was like, I'm not talking to that guy. I don't want to talk to that guy. I was told that he's a nobody and he's not the closest person to the celebrity, quote unquote. He's not just because he's management. He's actually not. I am dealing with the person that I guess touched their kids at one point. I mean, that's just the truth of it. They told me and I was like, I don't in a way, it's you guys, it's the explanation to some bullshit that he was trying to spew out here, kind of like a Corey Feldman. When he's bragging about something, he's like, hey, I was on the set with Michael like twice when he was taping this thing. Whereas the rest of us are just saying it, like letting people know that we were there, like, so we saw conduct. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different presentation of that type of crap. He's doing it to brag for some, to brag about his importance versus where we're trying to fight against him. Like, if I said it, like, listen, if Corey Feldman was the person that I was on the set with and he keeps running me over, you may hear a similar thing. Like, I was on the set on both these things with Corey. Like, you would hear it like that. It's not the same. It's me trying to fight against narcissists that are acting like we do not matter in the story. Do you see the difference? There is a difference. But what he's saying is, I am so important because I was here and I was there. Yeah, it's totally, it is different. It is different. I'm getting pissed because these narcissist celebrities keep treating us like we're nobodies and our opinions don't matter while we were at these locations. It's so horrible, but yeah, it's us fighting against the narcissist. Yeah. So it could sometimes read similarly if you don't know the flip side of like who you're, saying that to, or why you're saying it like that. Yeah. No, and I don't think the person that was speaking, that was trying to identify with Corey, even has the same similar problems. Like his sounded different. He's like, maybe not to that extent. It's like, yeah, because this person here is completely void. Like, you needing validation. But there's a lot of people that feel like they need validation from the public. Like, people have some general narcissist tendencies, like, because it's on a spectrum, that it can come off that way. But do you all of a sudden, if I say something negative about you, do you come and do a revenge plot? Like, there is a line. Like, I think a lot of people could feel very in this similar way, mostly when you're on social media. It's like, oh, where's all my views? It's like, no, legitimately, these people did target me. So, like, legitimately, I'm laying it out. And legitimately, I even told the media. And then, legitimately, there is a female's name that was attached to it, which is foundational proof. And it was Corey Feldman's girl and not his wife. But yeah, so they said, oh, yeah, that thing has been going around town. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, oh, really? I go, why did she randomly come at me right now? I hadn't even talked about him for months. At this point in time, no, I didn't talk about him. So it's almost like, oh, you're not talking about me now? I want you to start talking about me now. Yeah, they do that. These grandiose narcissists, yeah, you're not talking about me. I'm going to do whatever chaotic thing to get you to pay attention to me. And it could be totally violent. It could be playing with your heartstrings. It could be in a number of ways to get you to pay attention to him. Like, he may also have BPD. Like, I have no idea. Like, I'm not the person to diagnose them. I just know that he definitely is a socio from hell. That is a compulsive liar. Does he ever have truth in what he says? Once in a while, yeah. So, but you can't go by it because you don't really know where it lands. So that's why I talked to other people, and it pissed him off that I talked to that other person. And I was like, it's not like we're all like, best buddies, and it's just this whole thing. I go, no, I mean, it's all about his story and them giving their side, their versions, and again, it's just their versions, and just kind of going through it. And then on the flip side, I would be pissed too if I got busted for some bullshit, which I deserve, right? Like, just say I got busted for something I deserve, and then he gets off. Would you not be mad? You guys, you would be mad. You would be like, that's fine and dandy, but how come he gets away with it? And then he's making stuff up, And so it was like that addition. I was like, yeah, that would irk the crap out of me, just in the placement of some things in here. Yeah, and then he doesn't get along with a lot of people. I mean, like, legit, like, doing evil things and making stuff up. Like, that guy's trying to intimidate me. But when you hear him talk, do you think that he is intimidated by anybody? Like, when you get him in his private moment? No. And he was such a jerk even on Howard Stern, like, years ago. And then he wanted to, like, fight. Like, that conversation with him and Rose is so freaking weird. Like the conversation between him and Latoya is off kilter, where he's calling her a liar. And she's the one that's being about is honest and what she believed at the moment. And just like, oh my God, this would be awful if my brother did these things, right? Like she's going on this. Corey's the defender. And it's like, he's like fighting his sister. So he has a very major disrespect towards females. And then the Rose portion is interesting because it totally at the time, like her and Marilyn were probably just laughing at him like everybody else, like just, you know. And when he starts feeling insecure, he wants to start battling people and he wanted to kind of battle Rose. Okay, so I was listening to that dynamic. It was weird. You know, Rose is all young. Totally, I don't know. She's probably a hot mess at that moment in time. But it wasn't on the level like I don't know, it wasn't on the level like you would think. It was interesting. So, but then later, Marilyn totally, I mean, was just making fun of everybody. Marilyn has very low self-esteem, actually, if you guys don't notice that, which is why you would do that. It was reminding me of horrible things in junior high, and it's like I'm reading this thing, and it's like an adult man doing it. Like they were doing the videotaping of people's butts and things. Like there was just like this conduct that is so like junior high, and then he's off doing it as an adult, and it's like that's just he's stuck as a child. Like there's a portion of him where he's stuck as a child. So I was just like really going through it like organically, like what is wrong with these people? You know, because I was like, we all came from these bad, you know, something bad happened, but it's like I didn't land there. Like, why are these people landing there? But I tend to fit well for a portion of time, not completely, but for a portion of time among these people where it'll be like me, the sober person in the room, and then like there's all these like effed up people, but we have like the same similar stories, but yet they went off here and I didn't, and then you know what I mean? It goes into this thing. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be around anybody that was shooting up anybody, which apparently he was doing. Um, and that's problematic. It just wasn't caught as a child. So I mean, that's neglect. Not Corey, the other. But he started saying that he was scared of Marilyn. I was like, I'm scared of Marilyn. Come on. The other females were too. I guess it's just they buy into that little sadistical side of his where he gets pissed off and he does like things. I don't know. I have a disconnect to that stuff because my dad was pretty brutal, like in a way. So it's like I kind of just like, anyway, like even though he might actually do something horrible. Oh, I mean, the example would be like when LAPD is like, you know, I'm an LAPD officer and you don't want any problems. I'm like, anyways, I'm not like, it's a threat, right? But it was weird because they asked me, they're like, did they make any threats? I'm like, I don't know, like all these things, but I have it written out, like from them. So, like, it's not something I made up. It was that when I read it the first time, it was just like, I'm not even bothered. Like, he's trying to, like, freak me out, and I'm not. And then they go and do all these horrible things, and it was just like, yeah, oh, there is a threat, actually. You have to, like, talk to me in a different way about that. Because there was a lot of things said, like, they wrote out all this stuff, and they were explaining that they were the guilty parties in it, not that I was. And this was on the letters to me from LAPD themselves, like the guy. So he's like, oh, my parents, they started making up stuff. They just started making up stuff. And then he's like, my parents, this, that, oh, this, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to work with them. Something, something, something. But then it later turns into, I'm an LAPD officer and you don't want any problems. I'm like, I ain't gonna have any problems because you're breaking the law. So I'm not even like, but it's a threat. It's an actual like threat. And some people would be highly freaked out by that. And me, I'm over here like, you know, Yeah, even when they were asking me, so it's not valid on the initial questioning on that because, well, number one, I forgot about it. Two, it's a threat, but I didn't take it as a threat, but it definitely 1000% is a threat. Yeah, so people can say things like that to me, and sometimes it just goes over my head because I'm like, I'm not even going to budge just because you're saying some crazy crap like that. And no, you should not be abusing your position of power because you're not on the job right now. And so, what does it matter if you're a cop or not? You can't. You're not above the law. Do you see the processing of the information though? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but men like him, it would be like it depends. Like he gets me riled up because he's a narcissist, and so is this other guy too. But for some reason, they have different traits. This one. Yeah, and so then what they'll do, he did the classic move. The classic move. I'm a Christian and I don't do drugs. Okay, I love this one. So he has to fake present in the public, but we see beyond it, and this is when the narcissist goes loco. Um, so he's trying to fake present to the public that he's this good-hearted, loving person. I go, when was that? Because in none of these old stuff, your evil is sin, dude, and you're laughing and you're doing all these things. I would just admit it, like if I was acting that way. I mean, there's times that I've been detached, I mean, there's been, on certain things, but I wouldn't deny it. I would look at it, we would talk about it, we would examine it. So like more like that. But no, he's like, these pedophiles are trying to take me down. I go, well, who are these well, I'm not a pedo, so I don't know who you're talking about. And there was no like actual Jeffrey Epstein's not after you. Um, Charlie Sheen is over here like, I ain't gonna give this guy even a minute of my time. Oh, it's so interesting. So I was like, yeah, oh, Charlie? Oh, I would have outed him a million years ago. I mean, if Charlie was part of the story and he was already down, like he was really down at this one point. I was like, wouldn't that be a good time? Because he's not like oh, we love this man so much we're gonna disregard the whole story. It's like he's down and out, so why don't you just say it? He wasn't ruling Hollywood in the way that he's trying to say. I go, actually, he didn't even have as much money as the people we're dealing with. And in a position of in the positions of power in through friends with government, like things like that, and government, no. Corey doesn't have that story. He wishes he has that story, but he's just making up stuff on the fly. It's like the story of him being preyed on is not a good one. I mean, I think it's not enough for him or something. Like you could say that story without adding all the embellishments to it, like the other stuff, but he just annoys me because it's like I'll say something and then he tries to kind of like it has a feel that it's running off other people's stories. So then it makes the rest of us sound ridiculous or something. I don't know. Like there's a thing to it and it's really ticking me off. It's really ticking me off. It's just, but that's what narcissists do. So it's kicking me. It's purposely meant to do that. Yeah, but Kevin Spacey was accused of the same thing, of running with somebody else's story. And I was just like, yeah, that's from a mental health thing. So I think from a number of them, but they would have to go into a doctor about that. Do you think they're going to admit that to a doctor? Hell no. I think they do it because, oh, from a female narcissist that I read, a celebrity one. Okay, so the celebrity one, I got to name it. It was a straight up statement from a narcissist. It's like, I get jealous because all these other women are getting all the attention from saying they're a victim. I'm like, first of all, that's idiotic. We're not getting good attention. I'm not getting good attention. Maybe some of the celebrities are getting good attention because they're trying to heroize them, which they should have never done. But try to do this thing about it. And then you have to question like the placement of things that they say, because it's like, oh, are you doing it for the public? gratification and acknowledgement and attention. And yeah, like there's things that they say that they think is totally normal and sane and fine, but that literally is not. Like we didn't come forward because we're trying to get attention and all this. Anybody who does that, which there are people that have done that, has a mental health issue, which is something to pay attention to. It's not a good thing. It doesn't mean that the story that they said is false, but it kind of indicates some other problems with those individuals. So I was kind of like, yeah, I seen it, and then I forgot what else I was gonna say about it, but yeah, no, seriously. So then I already know that we're gonna butt heads. It's just gonna happen. I already know the personality type of the human that I'm not gonna get along with. And it's fine, but it's for self-preservation because we already know that those people cannot be trusted and they will do evil things and they're just void in humanity most of the time. But they will present in public like a caring person, like Corey does, right? He does all the time. And then yet this kind of crap. No, he got all his fans that come at us and say, "Oh no, he told the truth. He outed them." I go, he didn't out anybody other than some regular FloJos that just happened to be in the industry that he was in. But no, he protected a number of them though that we were talking about, and then he's like friends with them. You know, like the Ron Jeremy thing. The reason why he wouldn't out those people is because of this factor. He does the same conduct that Ron Jeremy does. He does not see the problem with what Ron Jeremy did. So therefore, and also he's pals, they are not going to out anyone. He treats women just as crappy. So therefore, why would he be flagged that there's a problem? So that's why he does not, that's why these people, all these people, do not out people. And that's just from years of paying attention to the people who are not saying anything and saying weird things like, it never happened to me. And all of a sudden I go through their story and all of a sudden I see that, oh, they're actually doing that to other people. I read a thing on Dolly and I was like, oh, that starts to explain her, even though she seems to be the most crustiest, like everybody's like wholesome, crusty white woman. And you know, this isn't to take away from her music, any of her acting, or her doing any other nice thing for people. But the out of touchness from that portion right there, I was like, oh, that's why she would say what she did. That's exactly why. Because there's this other portion where she goes and flirts with other men and do these other things. And it's not like, do we care about the consent of the guys? Do we care about any of that? Like, none of it. It's just, it's so messed up, the whole thing. Yeah, and then I get the people with pitchforks, like, you're coming at, you know, whatever. I was just like, I don't even care. It's like, I ain't never had that happen to me. It happens like every day of the week. And no guy even cares that you're married or even has any of that stuff. They don't care. They do not care. They be trying harder with that. They're like, Jolly, you should dump your man to come with me. And she'd be looking at that like, oh, you know, I take that as a compliment. And yeah, it turns into a whole other thing of enabling. And then it happens to us. And she's like, I never happened to me. Okay, yeah, no. They were talking about, they referred to her by her chest, which I remember as a kid, which is awful to recall as a kid. Yeah, it's just like, it's not referring to her as a human. Okay. I had brothers, they all did that. Oh, how do we know her brothers weren't talking about it? I mean, that would be disgusting, but I have no idea. She's like, I mean, I don't even know. What does that mean, right? Define what you mean right there. I don't know. So they say, I saw Corey, and well, I don't know. I just don't know. The headline said it all. Oh, yeah, that's when the hell started. Oh, goodness. The idea of an 80s kid to me, cool and cocky. I never thought being cocky was cool. Why would you idolize a narcissist? I mean, you have to question that. A cocky. I don't think Michael J. Fox was a cocky. I don't remember him ever. But what do I know? He never came off like that. I didn't like those guys. They were trying to promote us these perverted predator guys in Hollywood, pulling men's pants down and everything else. It was not a good time. Um, yeah, his shit eating grin. You're literally just outlining the face of a socio that we chronically picked out in psychopaths, like this whole thing. So maybe it's you. So like you don't have the education to look at that and go, wow, there's something seriously wrong with this guy. Instead, I idolize it and I want to be with them and then wonder why he does like femicide. You know, like he didn't do femicide, but there's other people who have that exhibit those traits right there. I have no idea. I was never that diehard fan for him. I was never at all. I was like never at all. I just knew who he was. It wasn't. Oh wait, there's a dark underworld of press. Is the bottom feeder media? See again, when you start touching on truth, like there's truth in some of this. Like I don't know if it was Vice. I believe it was Vice. Somebody from one of these tabloid, these like type of tabloid magazine, wanted to do a documentary on me with me in it, and for free. And I said, hell no. I'm already offended because they didn't even offer me money. And I'm not going to do a documentary or let somebody do a documentary on me for a job, like part of a job thing. And which doesn't represent me as a whole human. It's like, oh, you work at Jack in the Box, so I want to do a documentary on you working at Jack in the Box. It's like, well, what is this for? And why would you want to like do that, right? Like, it just as an example. But yeah, they had contacted, it was either them or a similar media publication, wanted to do a documentary for free with all these women in our industry. And they selected me because I'm like one of the oldest. I would never use the word originator because I was not, but one of the earliest ones on the internet when you talk about content, like in this universe. And I was like, no, they're gonna, number one, they're gonna pervert the whole thing. They're gonna turn it into a freak show. They're gonna do the same, kind of what they did with the Feldman thing, but he is a freak. But in this universe, it's about education. It's like a different thing. But the way that the media generally was talking about women at this point in time was already bad. And why would I do it for free? Okay. Why am I going to give somebody free reign to just tape me and make money off me and me get nothing? And they always present it like, um, so people can see who you are, right? Like you get acknowledged, just for people to know who you are. And then that could lead to other things. But I'm not doing it like that. You pay me and that'll lead me to other things too, right? But it was this total disregard of us as women that we shouldn't get paid. And one of these guys, which I believed it was Vice, it was somebody that worked with Vice and then they wanted to do a side project and they wanted to do a documentary. And I said, no way, Jose. And I already had Playboy trying to, I guess, lure me into that universe. And I was like, no, no, no. And then, yeah, and then these people came. Now, is Hugh Hef? So, my question here, let me take a look at something because there could be some additionals in this in the background that we don't know about. Because I'm sitting here going, why are they asking to do a documentary on me? Like, why am I so special, right? Like, you kind of go through this thing. There was a handful of girls at that time, but I don't know. Probably because of my association with other well-known people. could be some of the things, but unknown. It's just unknown at this moment what the MO was of that one. It could be the Hef team again. You know what I mean? Let me see something because his pals are Hef and the girls are actually some of Hugh Hefner's girls, and they were trashing them though. It wasn't actually, no, it wasn't nice what they said about the females in the story about Feldman. It wasn't looked at like, oh, these are victims. It was like trashing them as being all kinds of things, right? So I would not okay somebody to have free reign to do something like that with me. And again, what's the major MO to it? So yeah, they did. So when he says stuff like that, it's like based on this like weird truth. And I hate it because we know it's a little different regarding him. But yes, but that did happen. And I declined. So as soon as I see somebody go, oh, I read the Vice story with the link, immediately they're part of it. Immediately. What do you call? You guys are linked together and you want to keep posting the same damn article to try and make me look like an ass. No, you were being an ass, for sure. The girls, though, um, it was a problem the way they were talking about. Like, they were just trashing the females in it, and then like they were the leftover half girls that didn't get on the magazine cover or something weird. I don't know. I don't remember. It was just really not. It was not good on our gender. And when you know who Corey is, then you should kind of feel bad for them being there. Some of them, at least, because they don't really know what they're in for. Then he starts talking crazy, right? About the dark media, the Satanists, and the cultists. He's the cultist, right? And he's a light worker. I love that. A light worker that has a harem. Again, they pull this out of the Bible, the harem dream. I told you guys it's so weird, but yeah, all these guys, the Diddies, everybody, the men. Our rules are different in the Bible, but for men, they have a harem. They have their concubines, whatever the hell that is. Their bullshit here, which really does go. Wouldn't make me look like an ass. They would make me look bizarre. Is the only word I could say for it. Just because it was the public's uneducated on the topic. And I know that they would try to highlight the freakiness of it just for the sake of, wanting to watch something like that. Um, which is not a bad thing to me, painting me as bizarre and like that. But it's just like I don't have control over what they're gonna do with it. Like they could post it anywhere. They could put it in a commercial. They could do anything with the footage. Once I sign on a dotted line, just so everybody knows, once I sign my rights away, if it's not defined and you think that in your head when you sign something that you got it all covered, you don't. That's why they have a lot of lawyers helping with people with those things. But even still, like I sign stuff sometimes and it's just like, oh, they could still like try to manipulate the contract and say, well, you didn't put a thing here to say I couldn't do that. Right. So, okay. And at this time, they were really trying to manipulate us into a lot of these things. So I could sign something and go, oh, okay, yeah, I waiver my rights to all content, footage, photo, imagery of me can be used by you. And then, so therefore, they could take that. They could also resell it, I guess. I don't know. Like, I seen somebody where I did a thing with them specifically. And then later, it was on somebody else that they had a relation with, and it was on their site. And I was like, I don't know that person, and why the hell is that there? But I have no rights over it, so I can't do anything. So I've seen a million weird things happen. So you don't know what they're gonna do with that. It's just an example, like what people can do. Or like my one friend was saying that she did headshots or a photo shoot. Maybe it was a free photo shoot. Maybe it was a exchange. Like I'll do photos for you. And then they get the rights to it, right? And then all of a sudden she said that they had her pictures all over these like escort service thing. You guys do not want to end up like that. They took the photos and I guess they sell them off to these companies and then you end up on a site like that. And it's not you. I mean, you don't know anything about it. They buy the photos and you have no ownership over them. Yeah, you could end up like that. You just don't know. So a lot of us, I was just learning business at that time, but there was so many shady things going on. It was like, speak at seminars. You guys would be there forever. It's like, wait, what time is it? Oh, we gotta go. Wow, it's like 3 hours in. I wouldn't mind speaking to other survivors, but the survivors that I would be, well, I could speak to any survivor, I guess, because if we're pulling in the earlier portions of things, but a lot of them, even there, related to celebrities, celebrity family, people, and then there was a couple, there's one here that might be a serial rapist, like one that they arrested. I'm not sure. I saw it in one of the ladies' stories that I was following. And when I looked somebody up. I believe it was connected to that case, but it may be a different case. But what they said was the guy, when I'm explaining my story where I got dragged from the one place, that this individual, would go to restaurants or places like that, and then he would get the women in the parking lot, and then he would drag them somewhere and then do these things to them. I go, yeah, I can't tell you though who the individual is to date and describe him or nothing. And the comment, what I was saying, the one comment that they said was, I'm walking you to your car. Yeah, so I don't see the individual. I don't think you guys may not understand the story. So it's like the individual flings his arm onto me and then leads me into an abandoned lot. Okay. And so at that point, it's a blur because I guess I was drinking that night, but I was alone right there, and I was just out in the front part of the club area. Yeah, no, that's a serious perpetrator right there. But no, I can't. It's unfortunate, and then people watched, and nobody did anything. And I'm a kid, by the way, at that moment. So, yeah, but we could talk about that too. Is there one day away to catch who that person is? I don't know. You just never know with science. Maybe they could figure people leave their prints in your body for eternity. Like, I don't know, it's sort of becoming part of your DNA system. I have no idea. Is it possible? Maybe. It depends. It depends on how far science progresses. I don't think we're anywhere near that now. I mean, we just got to the DNA portion, and it's not perfect, but um, you can't sit and be okay with that kind of crap and just be like, oh well. But it could be the serial rapist that they did get. I believe that individual ends up getting arrested in the early 90s. It was out in LA. They said that he went to where they went to we in WeHo or in maybe even in the Beverly Hills area. I'm not sure, somewhere over there, like in those vicinities, and we were not far from that vicinity. I just remember reading the story going, you know what? It's similar and it could be, and maybe. It was just a big maybe. But I don't know if the line means anything to anybody. It's like, I'm walking you to your car. Because if he said that to any of the other victims, then it could be of relevance. That's what I'm saying. I just remember something like that. Like they were saying, they were leading me to my car, and I'm like, I was like, I'm not even driving. I ain't driving like this. You know what I mean? Like it was just this weird thing, and then It's like, oh yeah, you're walking me to my car, but even if you do, I'm not driving right now, so I don't know. It was weird, very weird. But no, I didn't see his face because he's on the side of me, like arm over me, walking. Like it looks like we're together, but we're not. Like he purposely went, whoa. And I was saying how I think I confused the Japanese guy. The Japanese guy was a total predator too. This other dude, because he writes his number down all on my arm. But this perpetrator didn't come back, so this had to be in two different instances right there. They were all preying on kids, by the way, at that club where Corey went to for his after party. And nobody mentioned the drug room, right? There's a drug room there, and the thing about that drug room is that they were warning us, like, don't go in that room. But people didn't know, like, there was, like, most people didn't, I don't think most people went in there, but it was like everybody knew it was there. And the thing is that, like, Corey can come into the club and then go into that closet and do stuff and come right out, and nobody would even know he did anything. You could easily do that in the bathroom there too, but you could go in there and get free. You could go with these people in there. It was crazy that they had this there with children on the premises. And then he goes and does that after party there. And I'm like, I'm totally grossed out. Like, they had human trafficking there, child human trafficking at the club. They had drugs in and out of that club. And he takes his documentary and does this thing there. And then Ron Jeremy, before he got busted, is part of that story too, along with our perpetrators whose name is on the freaking wall there, which is where those stories were stemming off from, of them getting children from the club and kidnapping them. And there was a woman that was taken out of there and murdered actually into the valley from the same club. And so I was like, yeah, it's a very bad, bad place. But all these stories glorify it, and you should question those people glorifying it. What they were doing there. But to paint the picture that Corey became that way because of the movies is wrong. You have to learn about mental health. It wouldn't be because he was 15 years old and all of a sudden he turned into a sociopath. It happens because of very early dynamics, and the early dynamics with his family is pretty bad. So, those dynamics lead to the next steps, because I was in the same situations, but obviously other people beyond myself or anybody else, if they even fell here even for a hot minute, they didn't stay there. They veered off and learned, right? And then decided that they're not going to hang out with these people ever again. Like, no one's putting a gun to your head to hang out with these people. Like, I didn't have to hang out with these people. I don't need to go out every night. I don't need to do any of those things. So other people learn to try to separate, you know, their work from, you don't need to do this, so you don't need to go out here and do this. That's why I moved to Orange County, because I was thinking, oh, it's going to be much safer for me. I still have to go to the clubs because I have to listen to the music thing, but I don't need to go out and do all this crap. He chooses. He chooses. The choice is reliant upon, I don't know if that's the right term, from the childhood portion, as to why he makes those choices over. This is more important to me, my life, that I care about health or whatever. I don't want to be a part of any under drug world of horrible humans and all that. So he chooses, the choice is based upon the early life experience as to why he chooses to go there. Where me, it was very traumatic, and nor would I want to still be going on like that, in this universe of people, because it was so bad. But for him, he still lives that out, as you guys were pointing out, of his partying ways and doing all that stuff. I go, yeah, he has major other issues. Like, and he was never healthy in the head. And that's why you would go there. Obviously, it's a choice because eventually you could go in and go, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Help me. And you can go get help. And then they could steer the other way. Again, that would be a choice, right? Some portion of their mentality goes, this is no good for me anymore. You know, I'm making a choice today. So it's not like it's so uncontrollable that, you know, this thing. Sometimes people are so deep in their illness, they just don't get to that point, right? But they can. Party was fun for about 2 seconds until you run into a drug ring of Michael Jackson's friends, which they didn't put that out here properly. And I was like, yeah, all the celebrities, they got the money. They got the money to keep that rolling. And that's exactly what happened. And you guys are hearing all the stories from him. Like, where do you think he's getting the drugs? I mean, you don't question the relations. You don't question, you know, all those things. It's like, well, who they get it from? Well, people started outing him in the more recent years. Like, Charlie Sheen gave me this, or Charlie Sheen did that. It's like, I totally believe that. That isn't even, somebody gave it to him. You know, it goes into this thing. But they have all the money to keep that universe really well fed. Not the poor people, you know. It was these celebrities. And the police looked away from them the majority of the time.